Hi, I'm Mel Valent, and this is the Autodesk Revit series for beginners. I'm going to go through some of the key features and tools in Revit, Autodesk Revit 2022. Now, when you open Revit, it should come up to this screen where you've got a few choices. You can open a project and create a new project, and that's for the models section. And then you've got families where you can open a family. This is more for components that you put inside architectural models, and you can create a new family. In the middle here, you can see there's a sample architectural project, a sample structure project, and a sample systems project. And down the bottom here, you can see what some examples of the families, what families are. They're items that you can use within your project. So sample architecture families, obviously furniture, and sample structures, and sample systems. Okay. Now, let's have a look at the sample architecture project so you can get familiar with the layout of everything on the screen that comes up. Now, let's start from the top and we'll go then down anti-clockwise, down the middle and then down the left, and then along the bottom to show you all of the things that you're looking at. So across the top here, you might have a series of tools. When I open, they're already open here. So we've got this just goes back to that home. Let's click it again. This opens, this saves. We can print the screen. We can measure between 2 points. We can do some alignments and tagging, text. Go to the default 3D view, change line weight and switch windows. We've got obviously the Autodesk account there, and we've got some search help as well. All right. And then there's some app purchases and so forth and some extra help there for the software. Now, along underneath that, we've got a series of tabs. Now, there are a lot of tools in Revit. The key tabs that I will be focusing on is the Architecture tab and the massing and site, and then occasionally view. So architecture, massing and site, and view. So you can click on each one of these and it brings up different tools. So each one is its own toolbar. Okay, so there is quite a lot of features within Revit, but we're just going to focus on architecture in the next tutorial, and then we'll go to massing and site. Actually, we'll probably start with massing and site so we can just put down the site and then build on that. Down the left, you should have a properties and a project browser window. If you don't have these open and you can't see these, you can go into the View tab and go to User Interface, and you can turn these things on and off. So there's the properties little browser pop-up, and there is the project browser, which is actually very handy when it comes to navigating around in Revit and just understanding where you need to be and what you've got already set up. Okay, we're going to be going through that in a little bit. In the middle here, this is called the stage, or whatever your active view or model is, will be viewing in here. If you actually go and have got this project open, you can actually go and double click on some of these other things in the project browser, and they will actually open up in new tabs. So if I click floor plan level 1, and you can see that's now bold because that's the ones I'm actually looking at in my stage area. You can see level 1 has opened, but I still have that original title sheet. This is all part of the same project. All right. So coming down across in the Architecture tab, we've got things like wall, door, window component. So you can see these are the key features of making a building: rails and stairs, and if you want to define spaces and rooms, and then create openings in walls, set up grids and so forth. That's quite important. The other one I'm going to be looking at is massing and site. This is where you put down your surface, the topographical surface that you will be building on. So of course that's going to be very uneven because it's a very natural sort of slope or whatever. Then on the topo surface, will create a building pad, which is just a flat area to build upon. There's some other things like property lines, so you can define the edges of your property, which is very important, which you're going to do as well. I'm going to show you how to do in a later tutorial. Now, the last one that I'll be focusing on is view. View is important because it's got the user interface tab. We've also got under 3D view, we've got the default 3D view, we've got a camera, we can set up a camera location for a very specific view of our model, and you can create walkthroughs. It's also got the ability to create sections, so if you want to do a cutaway view looking into a part of your building, you can create sections in there. You'll notice when I click on one of these tabs, quite often an extra set of tools will come up. So yeah, that's sort of like a sub menu within a tool set. Okay, let's just go back to architecture, keep it simple. Now, if I select wall, you'll notice here the properties changes depending on what I've chosen. And here is this sub menu that's come up, and it is just, you know, all related to creating walls. So going back to the architecture tab, and that's our little modify place wall things. It's got a lot of different things there. And same with doors. You can see here in the properties again, it's changed. There will be some already loaded in doors. You can always load more. We'll look at that at a later time. And all of the different properties related to specific doors. So if I choose a different door, the properties below that will change for that particular model. Now under properties, so you know, under properties, you can see here wall has a lot of already pre-loaded default walls types that you can even edit those walls and create custom ones, which we're not going to do at this time. Down here in the project browser, you've got all of the different ways you can look at your model, basically, or your project. The first one is floor plans. So under floor plans, you can actually add extra levels. So if I click on level 1, you can see the floor plan of level 1, level 2, and the full site plan. In 3D view, in the sample project, they've got quite a lot of 3D views set up. When you first create your own project, it won't have any of these set up. So these are being actually created specifically for the sample project. So you can click on, that's obviously the approach to the building, and the front from the front yard, from the kitchen, living room, so forth. So these are camera views that have been set up. Obviously, this has been set up in a render mode that takes a moment to load. And section views, a solar analysis, and a 3D view. Oh dear. It finally loaded. So there it is. It's created a, outline render. It's just a preview render. It's not a finished render at all. But you can preview some of the materials that have been placed on the surfaces. And there's some other things. So living room, it's probably going to take a moment. Oh, here we go. The living room camera, and the 3D is a dynamic view. It changes all the time. It is not a set camera, a fixed camera location. Okay, so under 3D views, you've got that. And you'll always note that when I click on one of these, it opens a new tab up the top, but it also makes that particular view bold. So right now I've double clicked on elevation east, and I can see the whole project from the east side, and it's in bold. So I can tell what I'm looking at currently. And so you've got elevations, you've got sections, they've got other detail views, they've got some rendering. They've also got legends and schedules. Schedules are the list of all of the items in your project, like, itemized, so you could actually, go out. It's like a shopping list. And then it's got the sheets. Now, the sheets are very, very important when it comes to presentation of your project, and you need to set up various sheets. to actually print out and present your project and for the various audience and what they're expecting. And there's a lot of settings when it comes to presenting this appropriately. So sheets, and then the families, that's obviously all of the parts within that project, and then groups, which we won't worry about, and any linked files. Okay, so Project Browser is very, very handy to be able to move quickly between the different views of your project. Just be aware when you go to close your project, it will be closing all the tabs. And this is not cloud, auto save. It is recommended that you save your file regularly in this. The other thing that you should is helpful to note. Let's go to a 3D view. When you're in an appropriate view, down the bottom we've got some information which is very helpful. We've got the scale. So if you change the scale, you can click on this and you can change the scale that you want to be able to preview at. And yeah, so if I was on level 1, let's say, if I change that scale, it will probably, change how everything is previewed. Okay. Now the next one along is detail. If I zoom right in to the wall types, you can see that there is a cross section of what this wall is looking like, and in view I might just change this to thin lines so you can see very clearly what kind of cross section I'm looking at. Here in detail, if I change this to coarse detail, you'll notice that all of that detail on the wall is gone. And if I go to fine detail, it shows me every part of that cross section and all of the materials therein. So each one represents a different material in that structure. So we're just going to leave it on medium. This one here is the graphic display option, so obviously how it's previewing. So just going back out. So to go back out, I'm just going to go back to the 3D view. You can also click home here, and that will just home it to its original view of how it was looking at it. You can also use this little cube to rotate around and look at it from different points of view. Click on the faces, click on the corners, on the edges. So looking at it from different perspectives, like different angles. So I'll just keep going until I'm happy. Oh, that was a pretty good one. That one. All right. So now down the bottom, if I wanted to change this visual style and go to hidden line, you can see that all of the color is gone, and it will make it easier and faster to move around my project. Okay. If I tried to look at it in realistic and tried to move around my project, and every time I go to a different perspective, it has to render in all of the realistic textures and things like that. So it actually makes the project more laggy, and it creates a bit of a lag. So we usually keep on the hidden line or consistent colors. It's probably as while you're working on the model. Next over, the sun path, shadows, rendering dialog. So when you're ready to go do some rendering, some crops, a crop region. This is also helpful when if you want to hide something. So if I wanted to select a wall and I wanted to do a temporary hide, so I'll hide element. And now I can look inside without that wall being there, and then I can reset it. You can see it's turned blue, reset. So you can see it's come back again and it's in the road again. So that makes it easier if you want to look inside something, but one of these, your view's obstructed by something. And here we've got reveal, and it would show the list of everything, all the hidden elements. It would just show anything that might have been hidden. I'll just go back. Here we've got temporary view properties and things like that, so we don't need to worry about those for the moment. Down the bottom, click. This is actually quite useful. This was the status bar. Okay, so down the bottom you've got the status bar, and it gives you some information related to what you're currently doing. So it gives you like a little bit of instruction if you're not sure what you're meant to be doing, like if you're using some tool or something. This down here is linked elements, just getting rid of that. linked elements, selected links and underlay and pinned and things like this, and elements, select elements by face. This one